Hello and welcome to my first episode on this Wellness Network. And today I wanted to kick it off with an interview. So if you don't know who I am Coach Stefano, Chiriaco, owner and founder of Ultimate Dad Transformation. And we have with me today Stephen Matthews, who is one of my former online clients. And he is now the founder and owner of The Silent Man, which is awesome. So you can find out a bit more about that by visiting www.thesilentman.com or .co.uk.
.co.uk.
There we go. Okay, so we're just going to talk a little bit about his personal journey and how he's changed his life. And I think it's going to be very insightful for you to kind of discover some of the secrets that he implemented to get real life-changing results and become the best possible version of himself, be a better dad, be healthier, live longer, have more energy. And yeah, I'm really excited to speak to you today. So let's start off with the beginning. So obviously, you came along and you were struggling at the start. So what kind of common struggles that other people could possibly relate to that were you going through in regards to your weight, your mental health and everything there?
I think like getting to an age, I think I remember saying to you that I didn't think I could do it at all at my age. And you gave me the impetus really to say, well, actually, there's people who are older than you who are doing it. And at the time, you know, I've not long, I've been split up with my son's partner for a long time. And I just didn't want to like slip into sort of middle age and just sort of spread sideways. And I was getting myself a little bit down and worked up. So I found obviously the UDT, the program that you offer. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to give it a go. I've got nothing to lose because I wasn't feeling great in myself anyway. And I just needed something that could give me that sort of boost to help me along the way.
So let me ask you a question. Obviously, there's a lot of information out there. We have diet plans, we have slimming clubs, we have 12-week ebooks, we have YouTube, we have personal trainers, we've got gyms, we've got everything now. But yet so many dads are still struggling. Why do you think you were personally struggling, despite all of this?
I think it was lack of motivation. I think that it's so easy to be involved with a gym. You're paying out possibly extortionate amounts of money, and you're not utilising it. You're getting told by people who are half your age, who are looking great on Instagram, and you know they look great bodies. But middle-aged men, fathers, I suppose, of what any age, they need somebody who can come in and say, "Well, you're doing this wrong, or you're doing this right." And I think that like what you're missing in a gym is that personal touch. You can have a personal trainer, but are you getting value for money? My opinion of that is no, that you're not getting value for money. Where you come into it though, it was a personal touch, and I think right from the very off, you were clear and concise about what it is that you were doing.
Awesome, thank you. So in terms of motivation, why do you think so many dads struggle with the motivation? Because this is something that I hear all the time. People always tell me I need someone to motivate me, I need someone to inspire me and kind of get up off my butt and do something about my situation. So what was it for you that you felt created a lack of desire or a lack of motivation to get started?
I think that there was a lack of motivation, definitely. And I think it was just partly down to habit. I was down into coming in from work and just sitting down, and I couldn't be bothered going to the gym because it'd be taking too much of my time. And it just became a couch potato, to be quite honest, you know, and I didn't really want that to continue because I've got a young son, you know, in the future, hopefully he'll have kids. I want to be able to be a granddad and take them out and run around and all that sort of stuff. So that was really my motivation. But from a personal sort of, or a physical look, I didn't want to be a typical middle-aged man with middle-aged spread. I didn't want that. And I didn't think that I deserved it. So I thought, really, I'm going to look after me, and that's what I went for.
Awesome.
That was the motivation.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure you know the people watching this can really relate with your story. It's a common thing that we get all the time. So now I want to just give some value in regards to how they can make a positive shift in their own life. And we're not just going to talk about the food and the body, but also the mind. So those are the 3 areas I want to focus on today. So what are the key insights that you gained from working together with me when it comes to nutrition and obviously getting leaner, having more energy, and you know, getting results in that area, essentially?
I think that what I got from you was the right foods to eat. Absolutely 100%, because I think that making the decisions that you see on the supermarket shelves, all this great advertising that they use, and how many men actually look at the labels on what they buy. They just go on the marketing, and that's what they go for. It may look cheap, but I think it's cheap and nasty. You sort of gave me you did give me the insight into what food could actually work for me, work for everybody else's body as well. You told me various foods that I could eat, various foods that I couldn't eat, and you'd tell me that it would start to take shape. It wouldn't be an overnight process. It wouldn't be a one-hit wonder. You'd have to work at it. But following the guidance that you gave, it was perfect. It was okay. It was great. In fact,
So on that point there, that's just a key point to kind of emphasize there, which is check the labels of your food. So foods that are very commonly labeled as healthy, as low fat, they can have added sugars, they can have more preservatives. And the truth is these things actually leave you feeling more hungry, less satiated, and less satisfied. And it's not as nutritious. Foods that are high in nutrition are foods which are high in fiber, high in protein, high in water, and high in fat. And actually, we're all educated to avoid fat. Fat is fattening. But if it's a more natural product, then surely it makes more sense that it's going to be better for you, right? Because it's not as processed. And processed foods cause inflammation. Take, for example, trans fatty acids. These are acids which have been manipulated and put into our food. And they've got the name because they're like train tracks, right? In terms of how they're manipulated. And it inflames the body because it can't process these unnatural ingredients. And inflammation is actually a more leading risk of heart disease, of general disease, than eating fatty foods, actually. Trying to get some quality fats. Does that make sense? Natural fats.
It does. I mean, it's like, I know that everybody goes on about, these things in moderation, but for me, it was a complete and utter education, really, because I was none the wiser on what to eat. I could spend hours in the gym and lifting weights, or going on a treadmill, or whatever it is that it was that I was doing, and I'd get no results. And it wasn't until I met yourself, where you highlighted me, yourself and the team highlighted me the direction of where I needed to go. And as long as I followed that sort of that line of reasoning with guidance from yourself, it wasn't a problem.
Awesome. So let's move into the body now. Obviously, people believe they have to do a lot of exercise. I have dads who are doing loads of running, spending hours in the gym. Of course, there's people that do nothing and need help, but people that are taking action, they're just trying to focus on burning calories and building muscle and doing everything at the same time. Because, we get these headlines all the time, gain 10 pounds of lean muscle and get ripped at the same time in just 20 days. And you see it in men's health all the time, right? So
I mean,
it's crazy.
For me, it's my body was, as I say, it was on a slow decline. Really, I must say, it is possible to reach your goals of what you want to do, but in a short space of time. And what you told me was, it takes no longer than 25, maybe 30 minutes, even 20 minutes, depending on how young you are. But or how sort of you do the exercises, but it's really not a great deal of time on the great scheme of things.
Yeah, definitely. So the key learning that I want to share with the audience is it's about effective exercise, not how much exercise you do. And essentially, you need to combine some kind of resistance and some kind of cardiovascular work into one short session, which actually is much more sustainable as a dad, because you don't have your life to spend in the gym. We've got things going on outside of keeping fit and good, right? So it's training smarter, not harder or longer, essentially, is the key thing there. So things like high intensity exercise, body weight HIIT, circuit training, kettlebell training, like we do in our program, these are all great methods as far as I'm concerned to kind of get everything you need in one core session. And of course, there are dads out there that want to get big and muscular, and if they want to go into more bodybuilding routines, fine, but don't try and be a bodybuilder and try and be lean at the same time, and do one thing at a time. I always recommend getting lean first, get your body fat down, and then focus on expanding that lean muscle tissue.
I think that's one of the things that you told me, because I think that towards the end of the initial 12-week program, I was still worried about Although I'd lost weight on the front, but at the sides, I still had a little bit of weight. And you say that will be the last to go, and you know, you were right. It's for following, you know, the guidelines that you set. It was true to its word. It was absolutely fine.
Awesome. So let's talk about mindset. I always talk about this. Information is not transformation. If I gave, you know, people a diet plan, the reality is they're not going to stick to it. And so many people have got dusty cookbooks and diet plans and information products that they do not use. In fact, you don't even have to pay for training plans because you just go onto YouTube and just do a workout there. There you go. So, you know, obviously we provide that, but it's part of a holistic package. So let's talk about the mindset, like the mental shift you need to make to really change your life.
For me, for me, it was a case that I wanted to. Now, you know, some people, as you mentioned, they don't want to put in the work. If you don't want to put in the work, then you won't get the results. That's the top and bottom of it, as far as I'm concerned. And when you look at it from a mindset, if you like, if you can spare, I don't know, half an hour looking at EastEnders on TV, you can spend half an hour looking after yourself in the gym, you know, or doing the program, I should say. And I think that mindset, it's got to come from within, because nothing is going to change unless you want to be the change.
Definitely. And I think people struggle sometimes to do the work because obviously people in general are very lazy. You know, we work and then we want to go home and relax and we're tired. But also it's difficult because sometimes you can try really hard before, not get the results, and you don't want to put the effort in again because you think it's just more pain and a waste of time for me. So it's knowing that, it's understanding, if I keep doing what I'm doing now, ultimately, even if I failed before, where's my life going to be? You know? And
I think also you got to take into consideration that it's not like it won't happen overnight, and it will take time, it will take effort, but it's how much do you want it? You know, do you want to be looking back in 6 months' time saying I could have been, you know, as lean as you like now? But you know, here I am sat on the same couch with the same sort of problems, with the same sort of attitude. So it's got to come from within.
Awesome. Perfect. So what was the result of this for you in terms of inspiring other dads? I want them to know, what does it actually feel like once you've gone through a process of change and you've got to the other side and kind of looking back at the old you, comparing yourself to the new version of yourself, and how are other people seeing that new version of you? Let's talk about that.
I think that for me, again, I think that like when I first started the program, I wasn't feeling great, so I wasn't looking great, and I needed something to inspire me, really. And what I was looking at on the Facebook group was the dads who had actually gone through the program already, and they'd done really, really well. You know, some had achieved what they wanted to, others were on the way to doing it. But for me, I wanted to tone up. That's what I wanted to do. I don't want, you know, to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, I don't want to be a model on Instagram or anything like that. I just wanted to be a normal sized man of my height, basically, and not like, you know, turn into my dad, basically. That's what I didn't want to do. So, you know, I think a lot of inspiration comes from actually being within the group and having that support network as well. And that's what definitely helped me. That's one of the things that was key for me, was seeing the change that other people became. But once you see you also making that change, and you change in definition, you're not looking terrible in the clothes that you had on previously, that is an inspiration, and it's self-satisfying, if you like. You know, it satisfies the hunger for you to do better.
Mm. How do you think you taking care of your body, your health, your mind has helped you to be a better dad?
My mindset now is that, you know, I lead by example. So if my son says, you know, oh, I can't do that, and I say, well, no, you can. So you just have to change your question, or you just have to change your answer. So, you know, from not being able to ride your bike, you're saying, I'm going to ride my bike. So you know, you're giving him that sort of that mindset that he actually can change the way that he wants to be, or whatever he wants to do. It goes back to that. It's giving him the confidence to think from within himself, to give him that sort of impetus to go on.
Awesome. Being a role model. Love it.
Yeah.
Great. So obviously, after you've gone through this change and this transformation, this fantastic result, you kind of just went off and did your own thing, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And you got back in contact regarding the silent man, which really
Absolutely.
resonated with me. You know, we have conversations in my program about things that people should be talking about and aren't. And you know, sometimes when people aren't getting where they want to be, it's not just because their diet's wrong or
Hmm.
they're just not exercising. It's an emotional problem or mental problem that's manifesting in them not taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's obviously impacts all areas of their life. So you've gone away and created this thing, which I thought was really amazing. So I thought you could just spend a bit of time to share what that's really about, what the message is about, what inspired
Okay.
you to do it, and how does it help people.
So what it was, there's been a lot of trauma or a lot of events that have happened in my life, and it ranges from abuse, from a traumatic event. There's been alcoholism. There's been court processes that I've had to go through, and these are just some of the things which have happened to me. The silent man come about because, probably in light of the traumatic events, I've never really spoken to anybody about what happened, and I think that is prevalent along most males really across the globe, that they don't talk to each other, or they don't talk to the partner or the parents or anything. They just, because they're men, they're the hunter-gatherers, they just go off, go to work, come back, and that's what they do. There's no real, what I thought, there was no real outlet for them. So what I wanted to do with the silent man is to give them a sanctity, really, or a sanctuary of their own little place where they can come in and talk about whatever problems that they may be facing, without having to talk to the missus at that time, or without having to talk to the mates who may ridicule them. So the idea is to come in, sort of somebody they don't even know, they're an outside observer, and just maybe help them through whatever is troubling them at that time. Because I know from my own personal experience, my mental health deteriorated quite considerably, because of the things which have happened, and the talking that I didn't do. So
Mhm.
that really is the concept. The vision, if you like, is for people to understand, or men especially, to understand that, like, it is all right to talk. It's okay looking great. You might look great on the inside, but you might be awful on. You might be great on the outside, but you may be poor on the inside. And I think if you had a combination of the two, you would become that person that you want to be, the best version of yourself. And I think that's what I'm trying to achieve.
That's amazing. It actually really resonates with me because that's exactly what happened to me. I was in the best shape of my life in 2009, Great Britain's official personal trainer of the year, and everything was ego-based for me at that time. And I basically just went through a massive depression. I quit my
Mhm.
job. I gave up my TV show. I walked away from it all because I didn't know who I was. There was
Yeah,
this disconnect inside. Um, I felt like a fraud, even though I
yeah,
wasn't in terms of a coach, but I felt like a fraud because I just didn't know who I was, and people looked at me as a certain person and they boxed me in a certain way, and I just didn't feel that that was really me. So I
yeah,
went through this process of self-discovery, and I've gone away and come back much healthier mentally, I believe now. And I've combined my health and fitness background with my coaching background, and now it's coming from a much different place. And as you say, a
yeah,
more holistic, um, improved version of myself, not just a version that wants to look good, because that doesn't really
yeah.
make me happy. You know,
No, I mean, like,
it's not
aesthetically, yeah, aesthetically, you may look good, like, but as I say, it's your personality comes from the inside as well, I find.
mm,
And it's not an easy time, it's not an easy process to go through, but you will get through it. But if you struggle alone, then it will take a lot longer.
absolutely. Well, with that being said, guys, thank you very much for checking out the show, and I hope you got plenty of value from our interview today. And thanks for sharing about that and your transformation and result. And what was the final weight loss, just out of interest, before we shoot off?
I
I think
lost 1.5 stone.
yeah, it's not bad, eh?
Yeah,
You
and
weren't
because
a
that's all I
massive
needed
guy.
to lose. That was great.
Anyway, yeah, perfect. Well done.
Brilliant.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you.
I'll see you very soon in the next show, and I'll speak to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye for now.